Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Berger, Vice President Global Industry Director for Financial Services at HSO. I'm joined today with Asad Mahmood, who is our Vice President and Industry Director for Data and AI.
Hi, Tom.
Hi. So today we're talking about data and banking. And data and banking is a huge topic. We're engaged with some very large projects with some banks and around data. And we know that it's a big issue, but we're always wondering, why should a CTO, why should a senior technology executive care about data? Why is it important for them to address enterprise data and have an enterprise data strategy?
It is all digital kind of interactions nowadays, and even if I go to my kind of a banking kind of a branch for an ATM, it is just to draw some money. Otherwise, like, we don't do too much in person or non-digital kind of interactions. And when we talk about all this digital experience, that means like for every interaction there is a tons of data which is being generated. And the experience and the offerings which banks need to provide us, that all comes into that play where they need to realize that, okay, how their consumers are interacting with them, what are the things which they might be looking for, and what could be the new best offer which they can actually provide them. But at the same time, how they can improve their services, where it is taking more time for users to interact with them, where it might be something which they can actually help the other teams to bring up new kind of features into the applications. That if we are not analyzing and utilizing the data appropriately, which is being generated from all these interactions, we cannot come to that decision. And that gives me that feeling that because everything is now digital and everything is generating data, not realizing the value of that data is something which could be very detrimental for any organization's growth. And that's where like it becomes important for CTOs and CIOs to put a very concerted effort around like all the type of data which is being generated and how to utilize it.
But it's really overwhelming, right? It's so much, and it's so much work involved in actually managing all that data. And one of the things that I've heard from technology executives is, how do I start? What do I do? How do I actually operationalize this?
Yeah, and that's true that it's obviously, we are truly in the age of big data. We are actually going beyond that now. Like the data growth and things are actually going way much faster than actually even technology can keep up. And that's where like we sometimes like organizations get overwhelmed. Sometimes they only work with the data they can actually consume, utilize, and lots of other things are just left behind, that there is no time or the skill or the capability to actually utilize that information. And this is where like we personally think that yes, the organizational executives and CEOs, so it might get in kind of that challenge that, okay, where we should start. Like if I need to come up with like, okay, we can start utilizing data in a better way. There is so much which we have been generating, what we should be actually hitting first, or it's a big bang approach and we spend tens of millions of dollars and then see some benefit. So the goal with that actually comes in is that for any of these kind of initiatives, even if you want to start small and then expand into the bigger areas, that you have an enterprise data management strategy. Having that strategy, sitting like and spending some time on to like, okay, what are the different data feeds and data generation engines which we currently have? What are the different data sets which we consume? And then see and create a strategy on how you can actually adopt a more better kind of a robust data-driven approach is going to help like save money in the long term, but also start generating benefits in very more quickly. Like if you don't go with a proper strategy, you start with like there is a business user comes in and they say, oh, we need this data being processed and we need this information. You go working on that project, you create a team, it start working and creating an architecture and everything. take 6 months, generate that information, and in the middle of it, another executive comes in and they say, oh, we need this. Another team gets spun off and they start working on their own silos. So you are actually creating even more silos because those projects and those initiatives are not driven by a centralized strategy. Having a centralized strategy is going to help that, okay, whenever we are creating a new initiative or embarking on that journey where we need to utilize certain data elements, there is a central kind of a piece to that, like all that connectivity. And based on that, like as you keep on building, just like the Lego blocks, you start taking like a full shape of that your organizational data and how it is going to help you even beyond the initiatives which you are just working on.